Welcome. In today's video, we'll explore the versatile uses of 10 frames, a simple yet powerful tool that's a staple in early years classrooms. Whether you're a teacher or a parent, understanding how to make the most of 10 frames can transform the way children engage with maths concepts. 10 frames and their smaller counterpart 5 frames are indispensable for teaching number value and subitizing. They support skills like one to one correspondence, helping young children develop a concrete understanding of numbers. But 10 frames are more than just a tool. They can also foster fine motor skills. For example, teachers can encourage children to use tweezers to place counters on a 10 frame, combining numeracy practice with motor skill development. Apart from showing the value of a number and its numerosity, 10 frames can be an essential tool for comparison. It provides a concrete, or in this case, a pictorial representation of the value of two numbers in order to identify which is greater and which is smaller. Another concept that can be taught with 10 frames is composing and decomposing numbers by using different colored counters to represent how that number was made up. Notice that 10 frames do not necessarily have to be a printed tool. In this case, an egg carton serves as an excellent 10 frame, and it is ideal especially for kindergarteners, as the counters are easily held in place. 10 frames can also be printed large scale or simply created with masking tape on the floor, where each tile represents one box. But how can I integrate 10 frames in other subjects, say literacy? When you're counting sounds and words on your fingers, you can extend this to represent the sounds on a 10 frame. And once children start reading sentences, they can count words and sentences and represent each word with a cube on a 10 frame. Another way to incorporate 10 frames is when counting syllables, using bottle caps to represent each syllable. However, the 10 frame does not have to be used particularly in language or maths lessons. In fact, they can be used throughout the day for different tasks. In this case, the 10 frame is being used to make the attendance on a daily basis. Children can draw a picture of themselves, have a photo of themselves, and as they grow bigger, they can have their names written. Children mark themselves present by placing their photo or name on the 10 frame. As children grow older, you can have a leader who writes the total number of children present on a small board underneath. And what about behavior charts? Instead of presenting a common reward chart, you can present it with 10 frames, which in turn will help children with counting and subitizing. Another daily routine is the calendar. Here are some ideas how the calendar can be excellent opportunity to practice subitizing on 10 frames. In this example, we see the number of school days represented on 10 frames, as well on the place value chart. This kind of activity works best for children in year 3 upwards, where they work with numbers beyond 100. On the calendar, one can also include a weather chart. In this example, we can see that it is recorded by telemarks, which is also another mathematical strategy for counting to represent data. However, this example can be easily adapted to mark on 10 frames instead of tallying. Last but not least, we can take 10 frames outside. We can have printed 10 frames in playgrounds or yards, or simply drawn with chalk on the pavement. You can have a carry along 10 frame for outings or trekking, where a 10 frame is drawn on the front of a paper bag and children collect particular things along the outing and place them in the bag, only so that later they can count the amount on their 10 frame bag. Thank you for watching.